You're watching Personal Finance with Coach Kelvin. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, Coach Kelvin here. Now, today, what I wanted to talk to you about was there's a lot of similarities between fitness and health, and there are with investing, okay? So, I just got back from the gym and I thought I'd sit down and give you guys a little bit of a rundown as to why there's a lot of crossover between those two fields and how good discipline and good habits can lead you to success with both your health and fitness or strength and also your wealth creation. So when we look at health, there's sort of 3 to 4 factors that are really important with this, okay? The first one being discipline, the second consistency, the third is training, the fourth is nutrition, okay? So when we're looking at discipline, now this is not really a standalone feature, discipline. Obviously, discipline leads into success with all of the other segments that I've just explained. But when you are disciplined with your following your program, keeping good with nutrition, recovering well, and being consistent, this is going to obviously increase your chances of success with training. Now, investing is much the same. Following a disciplined strategy, like I've talked about with dollar cost averaging, is going to allow you to, over time, increase your net worth, just as what I explained before will increase your fitness levels or your strength or your body composition or whatever your goal is that you're trying to achieve. So when we look at potentially growing our net worth, okay, there's also a few factors that are involved with this. Again, discipline. We then need consistency. So like I explained with dollar cost averaging, we consistently want to place the same amount of money in during the same time intervals often, okay? Now, there's also savings, and then there's investing. So investing and nutrition are sort of along the same lines, okay? When we have our nutrition right, our nutrition is the food we put into our body, and we're making sure that we hit the right macronutrients and then micronutrients at a more lower level to fuel success with our body. So we want to make sure that we're hitting a good split for our body composition and for our goals between carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, if we put the right fuel into our body, this is going to allow us to grow or reduce our body weight or body fat percentage as we wish based on the goals we have. Much like your savings is your nutrition for your investing. So if we're consistently putting money into the market and investing it in regular intervals and making sure that we don't stop from that strategy, we're going to be constantly putting our fuel into the share market, allowing it to then grow. So consider this to be exactly like getting your body to grow or your muscles, okay? Now, when we look at our training, okay, I like to look at your training as your psychology with investing. So when we train in the gym, what we're looking to do is get stronger or fitter or faster or more powerful or whatever it is in the discipline you're trying to train. For myself, I do Olympic weightlifting. Now, what we're trying to do in this sport, okay, is increase the amount of weight we can take from the floor and place overhead. Now, there are two disciplines or two lifts with this, the snatch and the clean and jerk. Now, when you are training effectively and you're following a program without deviation from that, you're going to have a greater chance of success. But if, for example, you're following this great program that someone's written for you or you plan for yourself, and then you see the next exciting thing on Instagram and it's like, oh man, try this exercise and you will get success. This is going to deviate us away from the plan, and it's not really taking into account the fatigue levels we may have, the nutrition we're following. Are we sleeping enough? Are we disciplined enough to include that and then add more recovery methods? Now, when we look at our investing psychology, it's much the same. You might see on Instagram, hey, this stock's about to run. Or you go to a family barbecue and one of your uncle's mates is like, hey man, you've got to check out this mining stock. It's about to go to the moon. And whilst it can be exciting and we can be romantic with the idea of tripling our money in a short period of time, most of the time you're going to miss out if you follow someone else's advice blindly and you don't actually do your research and find out about that specific company prior to putting money into it. Now, training at the gym is much the same. If I took time out of my program and I skipped a few days or a few exercises and thought about chucking something else in randomly, now this may not be achieving the same stimulus that I'm after. And as a result, what's going to happen is my results deviate away from the plan because I've let my psychology or my training change. Okay? So your psychology for investing and for training needs to be to make a program, stick to that program, and be consistent and relentless in following it. If I decided to stop doing Olympic weightlifting and I started running 2 days a week instead, how am I going to get better at snatch and clean and jerk if I'm fatigued from running and therefore I can't actually perform my heavy squats, pulls, I'm not feeling mobile, and my recovery is terrible because I'm not used to this discipline of running. Now investing is much the same, okay? If you deviate from your dollar cost average strategy and you go for a pump and dump stock that someone has recommended you and your dollars go to zero that week, then you're going to have less money invested in the market because you put money into a dying company. So you've essentially missed out on all the returns you could have had on that money had you stuck to your strategy. So for this reason, investing and fitness have a lot of similarities. Now, when we look at consistency, these are interchangeable between those two things, investing and fitness or strength, because what we're trying to do is consistently put the right fuel in the body, recover enough, make sure we stick to our program, and progressively overload provided that we are ready for it. So when I say progressively overload, obviously I'm not expecting a linear graph of growth where if I just keep adding 5 kilos every week, I'll keep improving, because that's just not how fitness works. Much like the stock market is not linear, okay? You're going to have times where you get injured, or you perhaps had really terrible recovery, poor sleep, poor nutrition, you're hungover, something along these lines. And the stock market experiences those same dips and rises in productivity as you do as an individual trying to get fitter. So the stock market is notorious for going up on some good news in the media, coming down on some bad news in the media. Someone's tweets could manipulate the entire stock market just because there's a lot of hype behind what they are saying. And much the same, you're going to experience periods of time where your share portfolio drops a lot overnight or during the day, during the trading day, or it could go up a lot overnight. Now, this doesn't make you a genius at investing. What makes you a genius is consistently long habits, which you maintain for a very long amount of time, because the average of these dips and lows and highs and peaks, the average is going to trend upwards over time. Not necessarily linear, not necessarily exponentially, but the trend is upwards. Now with your fitness, to try and expect linear growth is absurd. You'll reach times where you haven't trained hard enough, or perhaps your program hasn't changed and therefore it's no longer shocking your body and you're not getting enough of a stimulus from that training effect. And therefore you're going to go into a plateau, and it's like when the stock market goes sideways and does nothing. This is where you're training, you're putting in effort, but you're not getting return on that effort. Now, if we were to keep putting money into the share market during this time when there's a plateau or it's just going sideways, when the market finally runs again, the amount of shares we have is higher, so we're going to get a larger return. So it's good to continue investing despite going sideways, okay? Fitness is the same. If I'm having a little plateau and therefore I stop training, I'm actually going to go backwards because I'll lose strength. I will lose, all of the skill I've developed over that time. So what I'm actually looking to do is continue training through my plateau, but change my program or find a new coach, or perhaps adjust the frequency of my training in order to reach the results I'm after. So there's ways we can manipulate our returns on investment of time and effort, whether it be in the gym or the share market. If the market is trending sideways and you're no longer comfortable investing that same amount that you were doing, you could always slightly pull back, keep investing, but just at a reduced amount every week. Though I don't recommend this. I say if the market's going sideways or it's going down, put more in if possible, because what we don't want to do is cripple tomorrow's returns for today's comfort. Although I could easily cut out a few coffees here and there and afford more money to put into shares every week, okay, for today's comfort, that's not worth the return if I miss out on tomorrow's market gains. Now, if I'm looking at my training in the same manner, okay, and I decide that because I'm plateauing or I'm feeling like I'm regressing or I've had an injury which takes me out, even though I may not be able to train with the same intensity and the same passion that I had, I'm still going to be able to improve things. If I, for example, injured my knee, which I have done and had to have a surgery on, if I go through this, that doesn't mean I stop training. What I want to do then is adjust what I'm doing and work on other weaknesses that I can then build up so that when I return to full training on my knee, I'm ready to progress further because I've taken the rest of my body to that next level. Okay, so guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and if you got any value from it, please let me know in the comments section below. If you could like and subscribe, you'll get more updates from when I make these videos. And if you like how I've put a few training clips throughout this from today's workout, let me know and I can try and do this a bit more and make fitness and finance a little more dependent. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, guys. See you then.